أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ربي يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلتها سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا اللهم انفعني بما علمتني وعلمني ما ينفعني وزدني علما آمين يا رب العالمين. So today we'll start our session with a new surah, which is Surah Al Imran, and it's the third surah of uh, it's the third surah of in the order of Quran. So I'll go to its background a little and explain. Okay, so this surah it's a Madani surah. It was revealed in Medina, and it's the order of revelation is 89. So the word Al Imran, this word means the family of Imran, and Imran, Hazrat Imran was the maternal grandfather of Prophet Isa alayhi salam, also known as Prophet Jesus. The surah is named so because from ayah 23 onward, there is mention of the story of Surah Maryam, of story of Hazrat Maryam, who was the mother of Hazrat Isa and about Hazrat Isa. So therefore, it is the family of Al Imran. The word Al means family. So the first 83 ayat of the surah relate to a delegation from Najran that arrived in Medina in the 9th year of Hijrah. The main purpose of this delegation was to ascertain if Muhammad ﷺ was truly the messenger of Allah. They asked some questions and he answered them all, correctly. At the end of Surah Fatiha, believers make a prayer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide them to the straight path and protect them from the path of those who angered him and those who lost their way. In Surah Fatiha. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens this next surah, Surah Al-Baqarah, with the words that this is a book in which there is no doubt. So that prayer that the believers that they made in Surah Fatiha was accepted, and in answer to that supplication, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala presented this book, this Quran to us, and it carries many, many commands of the Islamic law such as prayer, fasting, charity, hajj, relationships, marital life, divorce, qisas, retribution, and usury, and we learned so much about usury and borrowing and zakat, everything else. So whoever holds on to the Quran and adheres to its commands will be one of those who are guided to the straight path. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us one of them, inshallah. So now I'll talk about the similarities between Surah Baqarah and Surah Al-Imran, because as we all know, they are like one of the biggest surahs, right? And these two surahs are known as the twin sisters because of their similarities. So they're very lengthy, and they are like these surahs over like one juz, and they both begin with the wordings Alif Lam Mim. Both of these surahs begin with the mention of revelation of Quran. For example, in Surah Baqarah, it appears that this is the book in which there is no doubt. And Surah Imran states, it is he who has sent the book to you with truth. So Surah Al-Baqarah begins with the mention of three groups of people. This is the difference, that it begins with the three groups of people: the believers, the disbelievers, and the hypocrites. And Surah Al-Imran, on the other hand, begins with the mention of two groups of the people, Rasikhuna fil ilm, which is those who firmly grounded in their knowledge, those who firmly believed, and the other group is those who deviate. In the beginning of Surah Al-Baqarah, we read the story of the creation of Prophet Adam alayhi salam. Surah Al-Imran begins with the story of birth of Isa alayhi salam. And the first part of Surah Al-Baqarah and the almost entire Juz 1 addresses the children of Israel, the Bani Israel, the Jews. And in this surah, Jews were like one of the people of book, but in this surah, it will also address one of the people of book, and it'll be the Christians. And not and there and how we ended our surah Baqarah with the dua, right? There was this last ayah which was full of duas, right? So this surah will also end with dua. So now I'm gonna start with the tafsir now. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم. So no one knows the translation or the the meaning behind this word, and these words are known as al-muttaqat, and no one knows the meaning behind these words. It's only Allah who is aware of the meaning behind these letters. There's many surahs that start with just letters, and we do not know the meaning to them. Ayah number 2. Allahu la ilaha illahu al-hayyul qayyum. Allah, there is no God except Him, the ever-living, the sustainer of all that exists. So if you remember that this verse also is one of this verse exists in many places in Quran, and one of them is the surah is the Ayatul Kursi. It starts with this Allahu la ilaha illahu al-hayyul qayyum. So this means that there is no other God except Allah. It is based on the belief in Tawheed, belief in oneness of Allah, that even irrespective of the numbers of gods or objects of worship that are that a lot of ignorant people have set up, that the fact that it's only Allah and Allah only that who has the power to rule and who is worthy of lordship, it still remains, and it doesn't change that Allah is exclusively the only eternal being, because He is indebted to no one for His existence. He is the most independent being. We all depend on Him. Our survival comes from Him, and our life comes from Him, right? Everything that we have in this world is because of Him, but He is he doesn't need anyone to live. He doesn't need anyone to survive. He is so independent, and then He will live on forever and ever. And He alone wields all the sovereign. He has authority over everything. He provides every single creature, not only as humans, every single creature on this earth. Could be animals, could be birds, could be insects, anything that's under the oceans, even the oceans, the forests, anywhere, the whole universe. If there's any life on planets or anything, it's Allah who is providing every single one with everything. He's a sustainer. Now okay, so now whoever sets up any object or any person as a means to worship, he is committing shirk, and it is it's not only committing shirk, he is disbelieving in Allah. If he believes in anyone along with Allah, or no, or does not believe in Allah at all, he is declaring a war in reality, because even after so much proof, he is still not opening his eyes to the truth. Verse number 3. نزل عليك الكتاب بالحق مصدقا لما بين يديه وأنزل التوراة والإنجيل. He has sent down to you, Muhammad, the book, the Quran, in truth, confirming that which was revealed before it, and He revealed the Torah and Gospel. So we all know that Allah has revealed 4 books and on 4 different prophets, right? We believe in the book Quran. So even before Quran, there were 2 main books that even to this day people read them. That is Torah and Gospel. Gospel is Bible, also known as Injil. But those books, unlike Quran, they have been changed by its people. The rules in those books were changed. But before, when Allah revealed those books, its commands, its content was similar to Quran, and Quran was sent down confirming those books. So pretty much all the rules that were already there in Torah and Injil are also in here in this Quran. So they were pretty much just similar books, but people changed it. People made their own rules, their own understanding, their whatever they wanted to do. They changed the whole thing. So the original Torah and the original Bible doesn't exist, because in those two books, what was mentioned was about everything was about Islam. It was the message of Islam. But whoever follows Torah now is a Jew, and his beliefs are kind of different from the Muslims' belief, and so same is for the Christians. But that doesn't mean those books were wrong. That doesn't mean those books were never revealed and those are the wrong books. They were the right books. It's just that books that exist in today's form are wrong. So we have, it is a part of our faith. Believing in those books is a part of our faith, and our faith is incomplete if we don't believe in those books. We have to believe that they were revealed, and we have to we don't have to follow them because they are all changed now. But we do have to believe. We cannot deny that these books weren't revealed and these books weren't from Allah. Verse number 4. من قبل هدى للناس وأنزل الفرقان إن الذين كفروا بآيات الله لهم عذاب شديد والله عزيز ذو انتقام. Before this, as guidance for mankind, he sent down the criterion, the Quran. Indeed, those who disbelieve the verses of Allah, for them there is a severe punishment, and Allah is Almighty, the owner of retribution. Okay, so the Torah is generally taken to signify the first 5 books of Old Testament, and the Injil to mean the 4 Gospels of the Injil is Gospel is also Injil, also known as Bible, of the New Testament. Even though those books were they were part of it. This has sometimes caused people to wonder if these books were indeed revealed by Allah. If they are accepted as revealed, one may wonder if the Quran really verifies their content as this verse says. The fact is, however, that Torah is not identical with the first 5 books of Old Testament, even though those books form are a part of the Torah. Likewise, the Bible is not identical with the 4 other Bibles of the New Testament. The fact is that Torah in the Quranic usage signifies the revelations made to Musa in about 40 years from the time he was appointed a prophet until his death. These include the 10 Commandments, which were handed over to him inscribed on stone tablets. Musa took down the rest of the revealed injunctions and handed over 1 copy to each of the 12 tribes of Israel, and 1 copy to the Levites for safekeeping. It is the book which was known as the Torah, and it existed until the first destruction of Jerusalem. The copy entrusted to the Levites was put beside the Ark of Covenant, along with the commandment tablets, and the Israelites knew it was Torah. The Jews, however, neglected the book. During the reign of Josiah the king and Judah, the temple of Suleiman was under repair of the highest priest. Hilkiah chanced to find the book lying in the construction area. He gave it to the king's secretary, and who in turn took it to the king as it was like a strange find. Hence, when the Babylonian king conquered Jerusalem and razed it to the temple of Suleiman to the ground, the Israelites lost forever the few original copies of Torah which they possessed and which they had consigned to obscurity. At the time of Ezra the priest, some Israelites returned from captivity in Babylon, and when Jerusalem was rebuilt, the entire history of Israel, which now comprises the first 17 books of Old Testament, was recorded by Ezra with the assistance of some other elders of the community. So in locating, several fragments were formed. So in locating these fragments of the original Torah, there are certain expressions which help us. There are, they're interspersed between the different pieces of biographical narration, and usually open with the words such as, "Then the Lord said to Musa," or like Musa said, "The Lord your God commands you." These expressions then are fragments of the original Torah. When the biographical narration recommences, however, we can be sure that the fragment of true Torah has concluded. Wherever authors and editors of the Bible have added anything of their own accord by way of either elaboration or elucidation on it, it has become very difficult for an ordinary reader to distinguish the original form from the explanatory additions. Those who insight into divine scripture, however, do have the capacity to distinguish between the original revealed fragments and the later human interpolations. Okay, yeah, this was basically the history. Is someone trying to speak? Okay, this was the history of how Torah was revealed and how Torah was changed. So now this verse says that now he sent out this criterion. So now what I just explained is also like a part of explanation for verse number 3 about how those were revealed and changed. Now this Quran that is sent down to us, now this is the book that cannot be changed, because Allah has taken an oath to protect it. So the verses that we have after those thousands of years that we have now are still the same verses that were revealed. There has been no change because Allah himself has taken an oath to protect it. So now this is the criteria for us to, it is a conduct of life for us. If we follow Quran, we are living our life in the best way possible, and you should not fear anything else except Allah. We will have everything we need if we live our lives the way Quran has asked us to. Verse number 5, inna Allah la yakhfa alayhi shay'un fil ardi wala fis sama. Indeed, not a thing is hidden from Allah in the earth nor in the heavens. So Allah knows that all of the facts of this universe. So this book, has this book which he has revealed is of necessity true. It may be more appropriate to say that, an unadulterated truth can be made available to man only through his book, which has been revealed by the all-knowing, and the all-wise Allah, right? He has knowledge of every single thing, every single mystery of this world. He knows our secrets, right? So there is nothing really hidden from him. Wherever we are, he's with us. So he knows whatever we're doing, and he knows even the deepest and the biggest mysteries of this world. For example, what's in this universe, what's in the black hole, what's in the Bermuda Triangle, everything. He knows about everything because it's everything that he knows is his creation. So he knows all of it. Verse number 6, هو الذي يصوركم في الأرحام كيف يشاء لا إله إلا هو العزيز الحكيم. He it is who shapes you in the wombs however he wills. There is no God except him, the Almighty and the All-Wise. So we know that we were formed from this clot of congealed blood, and we were put into our mother's wombs, right? So now this refers to, and Allah is the one who designed us, who structured us, right? He the whatever quality that we have, whatever that we have with us, the physical appearance, the nature that we have, it's from Allah. So now this verse, it refers to two important facts. That the first one is that no being, knows human nature as well as Allah does. It is thus imperative that man should depend on the guidance revealed by God. He should. And it's something that a man needs the most, because Allah has created us. It's he knows our nature. So we should be dependent on his guidance. And the second fact that's important is that the being who takes care of all of man's requirements, major and minor, from the time of conception onwards, will not fail to provide guidance for man's conduct in his life. So this again leads back to how we should live our lives according to Allah, because he knows us all so well. There is nothing hidden from him. Whatever we do in this world, whatever our intentions are, and whatever excuses are for doing anything, he knows it so well, right? So in the day of judgment, whenever we're committing, and whenever we're trying to defend ourselves from something that maybe we didn't do that, maybe we did, there is no chance, there is no point, because Allah knows us so well. He knows all of our intentions, of our nature, what kind of person we are, if we're trying to change, if we're trying to, deviate, anything. He knows it all. So that means, so this is why, it's kind of, it's an obligation on us to follow the guides that he's provided us, because he has created us. We're his subjects, and he will never want us to suffer, right? So that is why he has given us this guidance, so we don't suffer in the day of judgment, neither in this world. Verse number 7. هو الذي أنزل عليك الكتاب منه آيات محكمات هن أم الكتاب وأخر متشابهات فأما الذين في قلوبهم زيغ فيتبعون ما تشابه منه ابتغاء الفتنة وابتغاء تأويله وما يعلم تأويله إلا الله والراسخون في العلم يقولون آمنا به كل من عند ربنا وما يذكر إلا أولو الألباب. He it is who has sent down to you, Muhammad, the book, the Quran. In it are clear verses which are the foundation of the book, and others are allegorical. Then those in whose hearts is a deviation, they will follow that which is allegorical in them, seeking mischief and seeking their own interpretation of it. And no one knows its interpretation except Allah. And those firm in knowledge say, we believe in it, all is from our Lord. And no one receives admonition except those with understanding. So the word muhkam means that which has been made firmly and perfectly. So the muhkam verses mentioned here are those Quranic verses which are embodied in clear and lucid language, and whose meaning is not liable to any ambiguity or any kind of interpretation of its own. The words of these verses are clear pointers to their true meaning, and therefore it is difficult to subject them to arbitrary interpretation. Such verses form the core of the Holy Book, the verses which fulfill the true purpose for which the Quran was revealed, and they invite the whole world to Islam. They embody admonition and instruction, as well as refutation of erroneous doctrines and the elucidation of the right way. They also contain the fundamental principles of true faith, and teaching relating to belief, worship, and morality, mandatory duties and prohibitions that we owe to Allah. These are the verses which will guide the genuine seeker if after the truth who turns to the Quran in order to find out what he ought and ought not to do. So word ambiguous or the allegorical verses are those whose meaning may have some degree of equation or any kind of interpretation of its own. It is obvious that no way of life can be prescribed for a man unless a certain amount of knowledge explaining the truth about the universe, about its origin and end, about man's position in it, and the other matters of similar importance is intimidated to him. It is also evident that the truths which lie beyond the range of human perception have always eluded and will continue to elude man. No words exist in the human vocabulary which either express or portray them. And in speaking about such things, we necessarily resort to words and expressions generally employed in connection with tangible objects. In the Quran too, this kind of language is employed in relation to supernatural matters. The verse which have been characterized as allegorical refer to such matters. At best, such expressions may serve to either bring man close to or enable him to formulate some view of reality, even if it is a faint one. So the more one tries to determine the precise meaning of the verse, the more their allegorities will proliferate, and the more one is confronted with choosing between several and plausible interpretations. All this is likely to alienate one progressively further away from the truth instead of bringing one closer to it. Those who seek the truth and do not hanker after the satisfaction of their egocentric quest for exotic supernaturality will be satisfied with the dim vision of reality derived from these verses. Those kind of people will concentrate their attention instead on the clear and lucid core verses of the Quran. It will be left to those who are either out to make mischief or mislead people, or who have an abnormal passion of passion to deviate others or their own attention. So those people will make their own interpretations and follow what they want to follow from it, and teach others what they want others to follow. So it's only Allah who knows the actual meanings behind those, but people who really want to know the right meaning, they will come to it. But there's people who will just make their own meaning out of it, which is wrong. Verse number 8. ربنا لا تزغ قلوب لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. They say, Our Lord, let not our hearts deviate after when you have guided us, and bestow upon us mercy from yourself. Indeed, you are the bestower. ربنا إنك جامع الناس ليوم لا ريب فيه إن الله لا يخلف الميعاد. Our Lord, surely you will gather mankind on a day in which there is no doubt. Indeed, Allah does not go against the promise. So this is kind of a supplication, a kind of a dua, where we're asking Allah to not to keep us on the right path, to not make us deviate from the right path. Because when we are on the right path, it's like we have all the knowledge we need, right? The truth is in front of us, so it's very meaningless of us to deviate from the right path when we know the truth so well, when you have the guidance in our hand, and it all seems so true to us, but we still deviate from it. So we're asking that, oh Allah, please save us from that. There's so many rivers, right? So we want to be saved from being guided away from the right path, right? We want to stay on the right path, and we want Allah's mercy, and we'll only get it if we are walking on the right path genuinely. And then we're asking him that we know that he will gather us on the day of judgment. It's because we believe in it. We're sure of it. It's a part of our iman, right? So we know that when we will be gathered there, when we'll gather, it's going to be a terrifying day, but it will be the most terrifying for the non-believers, right? So you want to have his mercy on that day, and for that we will ask him to bestow his mercy upon us, but we also have to work on it. We also have to be worthy of the mercy. Verse number 10. إن الذين كفروا لن تغني عنهم أموالهم ولا أولادهم من الله شيئا وأولئك هم وقود النار. Indeed, those who disbelieve, neither their wealth nor their children will avail them against Allah at all, and it is they who will be the fuel for the fire. So it is like those words that we did in Surah Baqarah, that whoever disbelieves, nothing, whoever is so involved in this worldly life, in pleasing others, and pleasing its family, maybe, so involved in getting the money, nothing will be able to help him. Not in the money that he's earned, the success that he has, it won't be able to help him in the hereafter. It won't be able to save him from the fire of hell, right? They will burn in that fire. So even his children will forget him, his family will forget, his parents will forget him. They won't remember. All they will care about is their own results. No one will be able to help each other. Everything that they earn in this world, every single friend that they have, every single wealth that they have, nothing will be able to help him, and they will be the dwellers of fire. and that's where they will end, and they'll have no mercy of Allah because they disbelieve. So they don't really deserve it. Verse number 11. كدأب آل فرعون والذين من قبلهم كذبوا بآياتنا فأخذهم الله بذنوبهم والله شديد العقاب. Like the behavior of the people of Pharaoh and those before them, denied our signs, so Allah sees them for their sins, and Allah is severe in punishment. So we all did the story of Pharaoh in Surah Baqarah, right? We know that he used to believe that he was the God, and he wanted people to worship him. And when he didn't, he went after Musa alayhi salam, and he followed them. When Musa alayhi salam and his people ran from him, he followed them, and the sea, it was parted just for Musa alayhi salam to pass through it. But when Pharaoh started to pass and his people started to pass, the sea collapsed together again, and they were all drowned there, right? So that's how they ended. But Pharaoh did, say that I believe in Allah now, but it was too late, because you had all your life, but when you know you were gonna die, you wanted to believe. So Pharaoh is one example. Even other kings like Nimrod, he was such a cruel king, and he was so cruel to Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, but he died. He died with an insect, right? And an insect killed him. A small insect killed him. So it's just that those cruel kings, especially, who used to call themselves God, who used to disbelieve, and who used to deny the signs of Allah, the miracles of Allah that was so clear to them, Allah gave them such dishonoring deaths, right? And now that death is dishonoring enough for them, that was cruel enough, but now they'll have even a severe punishment in the hellfire. They will suffer even more in the hellfire. So this is how every disbeliever who denies the signs of Allah will end. This is how their life will end. They'll die a dishonoring death, and they will have the severe punishment in the hereafter, and there will be no help from him, no mercy and no help. Does anyone have anything to add or ask?
I don't think so.
Okay, then I will share the ending du'as. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم سبحانك ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك جزاك الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Ms. Rifat, do you want to add something?
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamu warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yeah, I could not join from the beginning. Whenever I could, I joined in the middle. You were talking about the verses you recited from, you explained, I think from somewhere. The word you were using, I couldn't understand that.
Wait, Miss, from where?
I think the verses which people may take some other meaning and they try to take their own meanings. What was that?
This one? Yeah, allegorical.
What does it mean? Did you understand?
Yeah, what I understood, it's like, these kind of verses don't really have a clear meaning. The meanings of these verses are not really clear, so people can, interpret from it.
Did you see synonym?
It's like, it's kind of like a metaphorical or figurative.
Yeah. because the Arabic word I understand mutashabihat. Yani mutashabih, like simile. You may have this meaning and you may take that meaning also.
Yeah.
Yani you may take more than one meaning, right?
Yes,
A
yes.
literal meaning would be something else, and actual meaning will be something else, which it means.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
people who are not like really true believers and who do not seek the knowledge, they will
Hmm.
take it as something they want to themselves.
Hmm. So they use these verses to prove their own opinions,
Yes, yes.
and yeah, actually they misuse it, right?
Hmm. And
Hmm.
they tell it to others just because they want others to follow whatever they want to.
So this is not the right approach, and because Allah Subhanahu wa Taala says that those who are, you know, what's the next? The one who knows the interpretation. No one knows the interpretation except Allah, and those who are firm in knowledge, they say that we believe in it, because there are some verses in the Holy Quran which we don't exactly know the meaning, right?
Hmm.
And we can't interpret it. Yeah, so we should like one of the examples is alif lam mim and huruf muqatta'at, right?
Yes.
Nobody knows the meaning, but some people try to give the
Make
meaning.
yes.
So we should avoid these things.
Hmm.
Correct. Jazakillah khair. You can end the recording, and then I would uh, like to talk to you.
Okay. Okay. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.